Okay, namaste everyone, and thank you for joining in. We were not supposed to have the class today, but anyways, since we have the time, why not? All right, yeah, good evening, Shraddha. Hope you are good. So let's begin the class with the Shanti mantra from the Upanishads, and then we can proceed. Okay. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunakatu Saha Viryankarvavahai Tejasvinadaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay.
Devarshi Ji, can I ask one question?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. First of all, thank you. I re-listened to the video several times. However, the concept was not clear about what the cusp is and how you explained it. So can you please do that again so I can understand?
See, the thing is, when we speak about the cusp, Western astrology understands it as the, Western astrology understands it as the point of any house. Hello, can you hear me? Yeah, Western astrology actually understands it as the midpoint of a house, but it is actually not a midpoint. Okay. And I did not take, I did not do much explanation because obviously without an example, this thing, this thing will not be clear. Okay. So
well, it wasn't clear. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, that is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That is the reason I'll be taking a live example of how to do it. Okay. I'll not be taking only one live example. I'll be taking two live examples. That is the plan.
Just to talk about what so it's not the midpoint, meaning it's not 15 degrees of whatever. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Just a minute.
Okay. So if it's not, then you said something about the degree of the ascendant is the midpoint. Is that correct?
Yeah. So the point being, when we speak about a cusp, okay, when we speak about a cusp, this is actually, this is, people think that this is a very Western concept. Okay. It is not a Western concept. It's there in the, it is there in the Vedic system as well. Okay. And cusp is the line. Okay, it's not exactly a line because obviously you cannot see lines in the sky, right? It is the line that separates the two consecutive signs in the zodiac. Okay. And the point being, this line needs to be understood by your manual calculations. Okay, that is what I can define it as.
Why does it need to be understood by the manual calculation?
Why does it need to be understood by the manual calculations? Because the point is, when you do it manually, a lot of other things. See, astrology is all about the, astrology is all about the, what to say? It's about the planet speaking to you. Okay.
For sure. But
yeah, so once you understand, because see, it's all about the sun. Okay. It's all about the sun. So the point being, when the sun changes its sign, yes, it is known as Sankranti. The sun, when the sun changes its sign, it is known as Sankranti.
Right.
And, at a particular point, it is said that the sun is without clothes.
Right.
Okay. So when birth happens in that zone, basically, it causes a lot of issues, not problems, but issues with the individual. And most of the cases of say most of the people who become serial killers or who kill other people, most of them will be born during Sankranti, and the phenomenon is known as Sankranti dosha. Okay, so if you know that where the sun is crossing, or whether where the birth has happened when the sun was just changing its clothes, or when the sun just crossed cusp, it opens up a lot of things. Okay, now that cannot be explained logically, because only those who
Just to stay on point. So my question is though, the cusp is the line that separates two consecutive signs in the zodiac. But
Yeah.
the cusp, according to what is the cusp, it's not clear what the cusp is. Is it point, like, 29.9 to, the next sign of point, to the degree of 0.1, or because you mentioned that the degree of the ascendant, and so far it's not clear how you tie that in with the cusp, and that's my question.
Yeah, see, the thing is that why we should look at the cusp is because, it's, if you are born, say, if you are born 3 days before or 3 days after the sun is changing its sign,
But
then
what is the cusp? That's what I want you to say. What is the cusp?
that's what I'm saying. The cusp is the imaginary line that is separating the two zodiacs.
But right, but that imaginary line, it's that the degree that, again, it's that imaginary line, fair enough. Is that when one sign ends, right? 29 point whatever degrees.
No.
So then what is the cusp? That's not clear.
That's what I'm saying. You'll calculate it. You'll calculate it. The software does it for you. The software does it for you.
It's not clear. I feel like we're going in a circle a little bit. The cusp is not the end. You are saying it is when it's a line that separates two consecutive signs in the zodiac, which seems to be, where, Cancer ends at 29.9 degrees and then it goes into Leo, but you're saying it's not that.
I'm
So
saying,
you mentioned the ascendant. You mentioned the ascendant, and I'm asking, how does that tie into the cusp?
See, the cusp.
Yes.
Let's take you've seen how oceans meet, right? How two oceans meet, and it leaves behind a line. It leaves a line when the waters of two oceans meet, right? So it's obviously a line, but that has an influence point. My point, my idea being, a cusp, don't consider a cusp as a line, consider it as a period. Okay, consider it as a period.
Yeah.
The period 3 days before the sun changes its sign, and the period after 3 days after the sun changes its sign. That is the cusp. Okay, it's a line. It's a line, but it includes 3 days. It includes 3 days before the sun changes the sign and 3 days after the sun changes the sign. Okay.
That's it. Then what's the connection to the?
Because if someone is born on a cusp, okay, if someone is born on a degree of a cusp, the personality traits will be carried over. Okay, suppose someone is born on the cusp of say Sagittarius and say, what is the next sign? Capricorn. The person will have the ascendant will be impacted. Okay, because when you study the ascendant, the use of the cusp is primarily in studying the ascendant. Okay, suppose you are a Sagittarius ascendant, and then I have to study the Sagittarius ascendant. I cannot say that the Sagittarius ascendant will not be courageous or will be courageous just on the basis of Jupiter. Okay. While studying the Sagittarius ascendant, I will look at the third house. And what is the third house? The third house is, it is Aquarius, right? So what happens is this person will be very, very courageous because Aquarius is ruled by Rahu and Saturn, and both are malefics. Okay. People have.
But for the question, so the cusp is a period of 3 days before and after it changes sign. So that would also be then that, if you could correct me if I'm wrong, that if someone is going from, it's the last 3 days of Cancer and the first 3 days of Leo, that ascendant degree would be either very high up in Cancer, right, if it's the last 3 days, or it would be very early in Leo if it's the first 3 days, correct?
Right.
Okay, okay. Then, and you said it's primarily used when studying the ascendant.
Yeah, because when you look at a chart, you have to study something which is called a blank chart. Okay, the planets have not yet come. Okay, The
Okay.
planets have not yet come. So continuing with my example, I'll say that the Sagittarius ascendant is highly courageous because the third house is ruled by Saturn and Rahu. But then what happens is, if I come to the, the Capricorn ascendant, that ascendant will be very timid because the third house is ruled by Jupiter. Okay. So what happens is,
Correct.
it's very important to know, then the positions of Jupiter, Saturn, and Rahu become very, very important, because that will actually give you an idea of how the third house will behave, or how the third lord will behave, or how the dasha of the third house will, or how the dasha of the third lord will be. Okay. So
Okay.
yeah, this is the use of the cusp, practical use of the
Okay.
cusp.
That's very practical, and I appreciate you doing that. My second question was, I wrote a quote that you said in the video, and you said when you were talking about the sidereal time and calculating manually, and you said the same sidereal time for a given latitude, the time of rising as well as the span of the various signs of the zodiac is the same. What does that mean?
I think I was saying about the 10th house, the table of ascendants for calculating the 10th house. That's what I was
It
saying.
was before that. It was before that. You were talking about, it was before the 10th house, but what does that mean? That the same sidereal time for a given latitude, the time rising of what, as well as the span of the various signs in the zodiac is the same. What is the same?
No, I'm not getting which portion of the video you're referring to, Laya.
It was at like 26 minutes, and you had just talked, so you had walked us through the rules to calculate the ascendant manually, about finding the local mean time, and then if it falls to the east of the meridian of reference, or you add the 4 minutes. And then you talked about all the tables of the ascendant are based on sidereal time because of the the book. I don't know if that's the right word. And then you said, and you gave us the 4 minutes that were shorter, that a sidereal day is shorter by about 4 minutes than a regular day. And
Right.
then you said the same sidereal time for a latitude, the time of rising, as well as the span of the various signs of the zodiac is the same.
I don't remember it. In that case, I'll do
Okay.
one thing. Let me go back to the video.
Okay.
Once this class is over, and then we can discuss this.
Okay, thank you for taking that time.
Yeah. Okay, let's take up a example. Where is the mail? I'm not finding it. Just give me a second, guys. Put that in the mail.
And just to make sure the vocabulary is the same, when you say you have to determine if the place in question falls to the east of the meridian of reference of a country. So what meridian of reference are you establishing here? What are you saying?
No, I need to go to the video where I was saying it. I don't remember what I was saying anyways, because I'm just speaking from memory.
So you were talking about the local mean time to calculate a birth. And then you said if the place in question for the place of birth falls to the east of the meridian of reference of a country. So what is that meridian of reference that you're talking about?
Just a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, Leah, can you come to the question again?
Yeah, so I was just referencing to the video that you made for the last class at around 25, 26 minutes that you were talking about. You were helping us how to calculate and you
Okay,
were
okay.
talking
Yeah,
about
yeah, yeah, yeah.
determining sidereal time from local time. And so my last question was, you said if the place in question falls to the east of the meridian of reference of a country, and I'm saying,
Right.
what is meridian of reference?
This is the, this is the, what to say?
What to say?
It is called the DST, daylight saving time, if I'm not mistaken. Daylight saving time is, suppose if you are, if you are calculating the chart for an Indian birth, it would be plus 5.30. It's ahead of the Greenwich Mean Time, isn't it? So that is the meridian of reference.
Okay, I'm not getting it. What is the meridian of reference? The meridian of reference
is how far the, I don't know how to put it. When you calculate the, suppose you are, suppose you are calculating the time in India, we'll always add 5.5 hours ahead of the Greenwich Mean Time, isn't it? And suppose you are calculating it for Bangkok, it will be 7 hours ahead of the Greenwich Mean Time, 7 hours ahead of GMT. So that is the meridian of reference.
So the meridian of reference is GMT.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's it. All right, that wasn't clear. Thank you.
Okay, I'm just not finding where I had kept it in the mail. Just give me a second. Yeah, got it. Okay, I hope you can see my screen here.
Yeah, we can.
So we can do it. We're doing it for an Indian time. Okay, I don't know how, whether you have the table of ascendants or not, but anyways, don't take this seriously, because no matter how many times I teach you the manual calculation, everyone is going to do it by a software. But still, since this is the foundation, so we are doing it. Okay. So this is the manual calculation of the ascendant in the 10th house for an Indian birth. Okay. So next time, this is going to be very boring, guys. So if you are interested in next time, you can take up a foreign birth as well. Okay. But these are the details. January 4th, 1995, Wednesday at 2:52 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Latitude is 28° north and 39 minutes, and the longitude is given as follows. Okay. So this is the step 1. Okay. So from the Indian Standard Time of birth, which is 2:52 p.m., obtain the local mean time by subtracting 4 minutes per degree of longitude that the place in question falls to the west of the standard meridian for India. Okay, so we are applying a correction here. So we are arriving at the local mean time. Okay, I've shown it so that you don't have to calculate it. Just look at it, how it is done. And after obtaining the local mean time, you're just rounding it off. So it's 2 hours, 30 minutes, 52 seconds. So just round it off to 2 hours, 31 minutes. Okay. Now, you must have the ephemeris. Every traditional Vedic astrologer in India will have it. Okay. It is also known as the Panjika. Okay. It comes out during Indian New Year every day. All right. So this is also known as the table of ascendants. So what you'll do is you'll obtain the sidereal time for 4th January 1995 at 2 hours 31 minutes local mean time. Okay. So this is how it is done. So if you calculate it, then it comes to 18 hours 53 minutes and 38 seconds. Okay. Now look at the time of birth. It is PM. Okay, 2:52 p.m., which is 2 hours 31 minutes after 12 noon, after rounding it off. Okay, so since this time of birth falls 2 hours and 31 minutes after 12 noon, we have to add this period as well as a time value of about 10 seconds per hour of this time, or about 25 seconds. Okay. So this is how it is done again. All right. So take notes from the previous video because I had explained this correction of 10 seconds per hour. All right. So this is the sidereal mean time, sorry, sidereal time on 4th January. And this is the, this is the time that is coming up. All right. So what about births happening before 12 noon? Okay. So a corresponding amount of time has to be subtracted. Okay. After 12 noon, we have to add, right? And, for births occurring before 12 noon, a corresponding amount of time has to be subtracted from the sidereal time for 12 noon. Okay. Now, in the same example, okay, in the same example, we took the birth time as 2:52 p.m. Okay. Now let us assume that instead of 2:52 p.m., the birth occurred at 9:29 a.m. Okay. That means it occurred 2 hours 31 minutes before 12 noon. So in that case, what we are doing is that we are subtracting the corresponding period from the corrected sidereal time. And this is the result that we have. Okay. This is the result for the actual birth time of 2:52 p.m. But suppose we had it, before 12 noon at 9:29 a.m. So this is how you will do it. Okay. Now ignore this calculation. I just showed you so that you don't get confused, or at least you can know how to do it. Okay. Now from the Panjika, or the table of ascendants, find out the ascendant for the latitude of the place for the sidereal time. Okay. So this is the sidereal time that we have obtained. And we are using Lahiri's tables with Niryana basis. Okay, the Lagna degree will be available for the year 1938 AD, to which appropriate Ayanamsha correction. So Ayanamsha is Lahiri Chitrapaksha Ayanamsha. Okay, for the correction has to be, the correction did not be applied. And this is the calculation again. Okay, so for the sidereal time, the ascendant is this. And then there is a change in ascendant. Okay. So this is the calculation, and we are arriving at Vrishabha, Taurus. Okay, we are arriving at Taurus. So once we have determined the ascendant, we have to determine the 10th house. Okay, so again, the 10th house is obtained from the tables which are appropriate, as I said. So Anuradha ji is here. If she can actually, if she has asked someone why we have the 10th house correction, I don't know, because I could not find it. Okay, because last time, I asked my Guruji and he just said that it's there. Okay, that is the reply I got. It's there. So obviously I said I'll also say it's there. Okay, I don't know why it is there.
That is exactly what I heard also. That it is
It's
there. You
there.
have to do it, but there's no. I mean, I didn't get the actual reason why.
Yeah, that is the thing. Even I asked my Guruji about this, and he said that it's there. Okay, so I don't know it's there. So it's there. Anyways, so this is how how you obtain the 10th house. Okay. And the 10th house comes to be Makara. Okay, so obviously you can cross check if the ascendant is Vrishabha, the 10th house will be Makara, right? But then we do it because we have to verify that we are doing it correctly. Okay, now how to calculate the remaining houses and their junctional points. All right, so determine the Lagna and the 10th house, and now determine the remaining houses. Okay, so this is the Lagna and this is the 10th house. Now how to add this, how to find out the 7th house? Add 180 degrees to the Lagna, we get the cusp for the 7th house. Okay, the 4th house is obtained by adding 180 degrees to the cusp of the 10th house. Again, the rules were mentioned in the last video as well. Again, for houses 11 and 12, the difference between the Lagna and the 10th house, okay, is divided by 3, and the result is obtained, added to the 10th house to get the 11th house. And the same is added to the 11th house to get the 12th house.
Okay, so I have a question on this slide. Can you go back a little bit?
Yeah.
So on the question of the cusp and what you're teaching us, so adding 6 signs, 180 degrees to the Lagna, we get the cusp of the 7th house. So that's my question, that someone's Lagna could be, so here the Lagna is 11 degrees, 36 minutes and 45 seconds. So this does not how does this match up with what you said about the cusp and the
Because
sun?
the cusp is not used for, the cusp is not, the cusp is used only with, not only, but primarily with reference to the Surya Lagna. Okay, because there are three Lagnas that we have, the Janma Lagna, which is the ascendant. Then we have the Surya Lagna, and finally the Chandra Lagna. So the cusp is mainly on the, it's mainly used with the basis of the Surya Lagna, with reference to the Surya Lagna, because there are three different charts. The Chandra Lagna is used for, yeah, the Chandra Lagna is used for looking at the quality of the mind, and the Surya Lagna is used for looking at the agenda of the soul.
But then what my question is, yeah, I understand that, and I appreciate you explaining that. My question is then, what is the meaning of saying the seventh house, adding the 6 signs to the Lagna, we get the cusp of the seventh house?
Yeah, the starting point of the seventh house.
But why is it the starting point of the seventh? Okay, okay, now I understand what it is. There is the full range of 30 degrees that a planet could be in that house, but the starting point is the same starting point as the Lagna. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, and got it. Okay, Tigi. Got it.
Okay, so the houses 2 and 3 again in the same way. Okay, 1/3 of the difference between the Lagna and the fourth house is added to the Lagna to obtain the second house, and again the second house, and again to the second house to obtain the third house. Okay, so I'll share the slide in the group as well. Maybe later on you can go through it. And the remaining houses 5, 6, 8, and 9 are obtained by adding 6 signs to the houses 11, 12, 2, 3 respectively. So 6 signs means 180 degrees. Okay, and this is the cusp. If you calculate it manually, you can find it out. Okay, and just put it there for you. Now the bhavas and these. Okay, the bhavas and these.
I want to ask one more question about this cusp and really bringing it in context. So I understand what you're saying about the cusp of the house and the cusp of the 11th and the other house. So then for a chart that you're looking at, like in this case, it's 11 degrees and 36 minutes. So the cusp of the 7th house, but then that's interesting because you could have a planet in the 7th house at, I guess
at the cusp.
You could have it at the cusp or you could have it anywhere. So then my question is, what influence does a cusp in another house besides the Lagna have on a planet in that house if it is, because let's say there's a planet at 15 degrees. So that's
it is called avastha of the planet. Okay, we'll come to that.
Avastha?
Avastha of the planet, the state of the planet which it is in. Okay, it could be old, which is known as Vriddha Avastha. It could be young, which is known as Baladi Avastha. It could be dying, which is known as Mritya Avastha. So we'll come to that.
Right, but just to make sure, my question though is, in this case, using this example, you could have, we see what the cusp is. So if a planet is at, let's say 15 degrees, we'll just use it dead center. That seems to be in dead center of that particular Rashi, that particular sign, right?
Right.
So let's just say, Leo. But also then what we're saying is the cusp then gives a certain quality. I guess my question is, if a planet is close to the cusp, does that, or far away, does that give a certain quality to that planet?
Yeah, it will. Because if the planet is in the cusp, and suppose the planet is in the cusp of the 4th house and the 5th house, okay, so it will obviously have a big role to play in the early education of the native. Okay, because the 4th house is, you look at the 5th house for your, say, for your graduation, and you look at the 9th house for your higher education like PhD or masters. All right, so the influence of the 4th house is also coming on the 5th house. All right, for example, if the 4th house is, say, if the 4th house is, say, belongs to Cancer, okay, And the 5th house also belongs to Cancer. So obviously that would be, sorry, the 4th house belongs to Saturn, and the 5th house also belongs to Saturn. So suppose it's Capricorn and Aquarius. Okay. And suppose Venus is there at the cusp. So what happens is the person would be interested in the arts. Okay. But because it is at the cusp, all right. So it could be, it could be traditional arts, or it could be archaeological arts, and so on. All right. So we'll come to the avasthas part. In the subsequent classes, we'll look at the avasthas part and deal with it.
Okay, but just to clarify, the avastha is not related to the cusp. It's
No, it is,
related-
it is, because the avastha will be, a planet falling within certain degrees that will give the avastha. Okay. But if that certain degree is in the cusp, is within the cusp, then it influences the planet in some other ways.
Okay, but the avastha is separate.
Yeah, it is separate. It is separate.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah. So the bhava sandhis, and the bhava sandhi is again, it's a critical concept, because planets which fall in the bhava sandhi, they say that they lose their strength. Okay. And they are obtained by determining the midpoint between the adjacent houses. Okay. So I've just given an example. I'll share the slide in the group. Okay. And what I'll do is I'll also make a slide for a foreign birth that you can go through. Okay, that will be a better idea, I suppose. Okay. All right, just give me a few minutes, guys. My internet is just pausing, and my audio quality is getting up. Let's take a break for a couple of minutes. I'm just coming by fixing this thing. Okay, guys, the video might go off because the connection is really bad here. So now there is an ancient Indian method of determining the cusp of the lagna. Okay. Again, this has been taught to be my Guruji, and I don't know the basis of this method, to be very honest with you, because when I was told about why these things exist, the only answer, as I said, I got is it's there. Okay, it's there. So maybe that is the way how gurus teach. Okay. So anyways, we'll not go into the details of this method. So I'm just enumerating the principles that I have been taught. All right. So in this method, number one, we have the concept of the day. Okay. And again, I have mentioned this previously in my classes, that for the purpose of astrology, a day will extend from one sunrise to the next sunrise. Okay. So suppose you were born on say 12:30 a.m. of Tuesday, you will consider it to be a Tuesday birth. Okay, you will not consider it to be Wednesday. Okay. And such a day will always comprise of 60 ghatis, which I have discussed when we were discussing the the concept of time. So what we can see is that there is a great importance of the time of sunrise, and this time must be calculated accurately. Okay. And it is the visibility of the upper limb of the disk of the sun that coincides with the sunrise. Okay, so it's there in the Panchika or the ephemeris. You don't have to worry about just going out there and sitting and looking at the sun when the disk of the when the disk of the sun will touch the upper limb. Okay, so it is there in the Panchika, but the concept of the day is very important, because if you get your day wrong, the entire chart will go wrong. All right. So I don't have any Panchanga student here, but those who have done the Panchanga class, they will understand that this concept of the day is very important, because the day lord is all about how you work, your energy levels and everything. Okay. And then we have something which is called Ishtakala. It is the same thing. We are reckoning the time of birth in from the time of sunrise. Okay, and not from midnight onwards. Okay. So why we are doing it? It's because of the concept of Ishtakala. Okay, Ishtakala, right? Then we have something which is called Rashi Mana. Okay, so Rashi Mana is the duration of time which a sign takes to completely rise above the horizon. Okay, so here we are referring to the signs of the Sayana zodiac. Okay, that means the tropical zodiac. And the Rashi Mana is expressed in a time unit which is called asu. Okay, asu is approximately equal to 4 seconds, and as discussed previously, 6 asus or 24 seconds will make a pala or a vigati. Okay, and the rashimana we can, from the Panjika we can calculate the rashimana of the various signs of the zodiac at, at 0° latitude. I'll just show you. Okay.
How do you spell asu?
Asu, ASU, asu.
And it's 24 seconds
Yeah, it is 24 seconds.
of time, just flat out time.
Yeah.
And then you said 6 asus make a pal.
Yeah, a pal or a vigati.
How do you spell that?
PAL, pal. You can also say it as PALA, pala. Okay. Right. Yeah. So this is the rashimana. Okay. It's there in the ephemeris, Indian ephemeris. And then there is rashimana for other latitudes. Okay, because we can have a birth in the northern hemisphere as well as in the birth of the southern hemisphere. Okay, so for this we need an understanding of the essential differences for different latitudes. Okay, so it is also known as charkhandas. Okay, so charkhanda is the accessional difference for the different latitudes. Okay, and when the charkhandas for a given latitude are subtracted from the signs Makara to Mithuna, that means from Capricorn to Gemini, then or when the charkhanda is, when the charkhandas for a given latitude are added to the signs Cancer to Sagittarius. Okay, that means from Kark to Dhanu, you can get the Rashimana for the various Sayana Rashis for that latitude. Okay, and for southern latitudes, the addition and subtraction are reversed. Okay, so I'll make a PDF and send it in the group where you can actually look at how, how annual calculations are made for a foreign birth. Okay, so how to determine the Charkhandas? I don't know because I've not been taught. Okay, it's there it is there in the Panchika. So anyone wanting to go for it can have a look at it. Okay, it's Indian Panchika. It comes out in April, Indian New Year, every year. Sorry. Okay. Then we also have to determine the Sayana sun at sunrise. Okay, so you can determine that from the Panchang. Okay, if you're using the software, just set the Ayanamsha to Sayana Ayanamsha and you will find out the, find out the Sayana sun. Okay, what happens is if you use the software, okay, and even in the Panchanga, the position of the sun at sunrise is given on the Niryana basis. Okay, so you can just convert it into Sayana value by adding the Ayanamsha for that particular year or month of birth. Okay, so this provides the sign that the sun is in at sunrise. Okay, and when you know the duration of this sign, it becomes possible to work out how much of this sign is yet to rise above the horizon and how much time it will take to do so. Okay, after that time period, the next sign will rise and take the time that we know, okay, that we have already discussed. So in this way, the rising sign for the appropriate Ishtakala is worked out. Okay, so this is the Sayana Lagna, right? So you don't want to calculate things, just type Sayana Ayanamsha in the Ayanamsha software of in the Ayanamsha part of the software. It'll give you the Sayana Lagna. Okay, and then the Niryana Lagna is the Lagna that you get while using the Lahiri Chitrapaksha Ayanamsha. Okay, if you're doing it manually, you'll subtract the Ayanamsha from the Sayana Lagna. That will give you the Niryana Lagna. Okay. So this is how to calculate the birth chart. So this will be the blank chart. Okay, this is the blank chart. So the next step is to know the longitudes of the planets. Okay, the next step is to know the longitudes of the planets. All right.
Did you say what Vigatis is?
Not getting you, Laya.
Yeah,
Vigate is
definitely-
the pala, is the 6 asus or the 24 seconds. That is Vigate.
It's also Pala. It's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
same
Yeah,
meaning.
it's the
Gotcha.
same. So the next step after determining the lagna is to calculate the longitudes of the planets, which is also known as the grahasthuta. Okay, the Sanskrit word is the grahasthuta. Okay, so these longitudes, they indicate the astronomical location of planets in the zodiac. And since the horoscope is a graphic representation of the planetary disposition at a given moment, it is very, very important that the planetary positions are calculated correctly. Okay, and the position of the planets are given in various almanacs or the panchangas. Okay, in India there are several panchangas that get published. Okay, the north will use a different panchanga, the south will use a different panchanga, and that will also result in a difference of the months that are there. Okay, for example, now we are having the Savan month for, we are supposedly having the Savan month, the month of Savan, right? In northern India, but for southern India it starts 15 days later than the northern India date. Okay, and it ends 15 days after the northern India date. So this difference is because of the panchangas that get published from different places. Okay, and these panchangas, almost many of them or almost all of them, they are used to give planetary longitudes at the time of local sunrise, generally on 4 occasions during a lunar month. Okay, and the 8th tithi of the Krishna Paksha. Okay, the Ashtami tithi of the Shukla Paksha, which is the bright half, and then the Purnima. Okay, but now there is a problem. Okay, so mostly we'll find that these panchangas have now switched on to the to the Indian Standard Time, and the planetary positions in the panchangas that are published now or in the modern days, they give planetary positions generally at 5:30 a.m., which is equivalent to 12 midnight of Greenwich Mean Time. Okay, and in the Panjika or the ephemeris that you will use is the Lahiri's Indian ephemeris, which is published annually. It gets published every day on the first day of the Indian New Year. It's released on the first day of the Indian New Year. So you can get one for yourself. Every Bengali house, every Assamese house has it in the east. And I think it is the same thing in the north, south, or west as well, which I don't know. Okay. So the Lahiri Indian ephemeris, it gives the planetary positions according to the Nirjana basis or the sidereal system, which is for 5:30 a.m. Indian Standard Time. Okay, the Anamsha used in this case is Chitrapaksha, and you can also use the ephemeris based on the Sayana or the tropical system. Okay, and they give the Sayana positions of the planets which need to be converted to the Nirjana values by subtracting the Anamsha for the appropriate year of birth. Okay. Now, what we have done is we have used local mean time or LMT for the calculation of the cusp of the ascendant as well as other cusps. Okay, why? Because the rising of signs at any place is dependent on the local time of that place. Okay, so for any given time of a clock, different signs will rise at different places of the earth. Okay, and the longitude of a planet, which is also the grahasthuta, as I said, it is the angular distance that the planet makes with the center of the earth. And this relationship is the same for all places on the surface of the earth. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that at any given moment, the planetary positions for all the places on the earth are the same. Lahiri's Panchika or ephemeris, it gives the planetary positions on the Nirjana basis for 5:30 a.m. Indian Standard Time. So for the calculation of planetary positions at any given moment, the Indian Standard Time must be used. Okay, you can also look at it in this way, that for the calculation of planetary longitudes, the same time measure must be employed as has been employed by the by the Panchika or the ephemeris that is in use. Okay, so in the next class I'll be just discussing about about how to calculate the position of the planets manually, and then we'll go to something which are known as the Shodasha Vargas, the 16 divisional charts. Okay, and thereafter we'll also look at the impact of the Aprakash grahas, the Gulika and Mandi. Okay, there are other Prakash Grahas as well. Maybe later on we can have a webinar for that as well. All right. So we'll be wrapping it up today. I actually am supposed to go somewhere. So, but since I was free this time, so I thought that let me do the class and and set all of you up. So not have the class next Sunday because I'll be traveling. Okay, I'll be traveling from tonight till I'll be back on Monday. And the videos will be coming up because I put them on autopilot. Okay, I'm not making new videos, but I put them on autopilot. Okay. So that's how it is. All right, any questions, guys?
Thank you. I wanted to ask you about the Shraddha class, and I'm not the ancestor class for.
Yeah, it starts on the Magha Nakshatra day. I think I did not get a response, so I did not. It's already continuing, and so I already have two.
I will do it. I messaged you, and I called you, but I know you.
Yeah, you have to, if you can find a way, then maybe you can call me on voice, not on WhatsApp, because WhatsApp gives very bad connectivity issues here.
For you, it does. Okay.
Yeah, so that's how it is. Okay. Yeah.
So are you already teaching the class?
Yeah, see, I teach this every Magha Nakshatra day. Okay, it does not matter who comes in. But the point being, because this is a one-on-one coaching, it's not a class, basically, it's a one-on-one coaching. So two students are already.
What do you mean one-on-one? If there's already students, then
no, it means that suppose you are taking it this month. So I'll be doing your classes separately. Okay. I'll not be clubbing. If you're taking it this month, I'll be doing your classes separately. I'll not be clubbing you with the two students who have already enrolled, who are already doing it. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. So then you and I would arrange a time.
Yeah.
To do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I would like to talk to you about. And is the 60,000 rupees the same price for everybody?
Yeah, it is the same price, Laya, because I told you if you want a discount, then just wait for the end of August, because then I would be in a position to give. Okay.
Yeah, it's not that I want, it's just managing a budget, and it's definitely fair that you have payment, and for your knowledge.
That is the reason I have put that is the reason
it's definitely fair.
Scheme. So that is what it is. And you guys can also wait for a flagship program, which is supposed to come out towards Durga Puja. It will be titled as Satyam Shivam Sundaram. So that will include everything. Okay, it will also include the ancestral thing. It will also include the tantra thing, which I'll be teaching. So that will include everything. Okay. So anyways, and if you want to know about the various courses that I'm offering, I don't want, I don't advertise my courses because I want only the serious ones to come in. So you can always ping me personally. I'll let you know what courses are there. Okay. So they are not of Vedic astrology as of for now, because I'm just starting it out. So the next thing is, Twinkle Ji, I have a ancestral healing course running. Then there is a tantra course. Okay, there is a tantra course for there. I have one student only.
There's a tantra course? Wow.
Yeah, there is a tantra course as well. Okay. Tantra. And then there would be a course which will be titled as Satyam Shivam Sundaram. Okay. So that course is meant to teach you something which is called immortality. Okay. So people don't know how to become immortal, but it is possible to become an immortal, right? And maybe I'll share the content in the next class. Okay. I don't know, I don't know what content will come up in the Satyam Shivam Sundaram class, but Tantra, I can share the content later on, or maybe if I have it, then I can share it now. Just give me a second. I'll just give me a second. If I have it now, I'll share it.
So, Devarshi Ji?
Yeah.
Just in planning for this because it is very important to me and I do want to make the investment. Magha Nakshatra for me, where I am in the USA, it's next Saturday, the 30th.
Right.
And so, yeah, I mean, it starts just after 1:42 a.m. in the morning on the 29th. And then it goes all day Saturday until, you know, just after maybe 3 a.m. So are you available?
Yeah, I will be. You just text me once on WhatsApp. I'll set up a Zoom discussion with you on this.
Okay, thank you for being so thorough and generous because it does need it. And I do want to be on the same page.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right then, guys. Thank you so much. I'll see you on the next week. Okay, so on Sunday we are not having any class. So have a great weekend. In fact, have 2 great weekends. The recordings will be available tomorrow. Okay, I'll be putting them in autopilot before I leave, so they'll be available tomorrow. Okay, so thank you everyone. Hope you are all reaping some benefits out of it. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, my pleasure. Bye-bye.